had a niche, childcare industry, same as you, for the past 3 years ish, and realizing that it's not a niche that I want to continue in. So I've made up my mind to get out of it. So where I am stuck is my next step. What I do want is to do the outsourced accounting, like those higher end clients that are paying $3,000, $5,000 a month for their payables, their receivables, maybe their payroll, the full accounting, that type of stuff. What I'm realizing is that the clientele that I'm looking for are $1 million plus revenue. So what industries, I guess, would attract that caliber of client? I thought of e-commerce, but I have no experience in e-commerce. So I guess my question is, how do I find the ideal clients? And if I don't have any experience within that industry, what are some tips?
So I kind of had a similar problem when I was choosing my niche, but more so because kind of same kind of problem, but different a little bit, because I had experience in a lot of different industries because I worked in public accounting for 7 years. So I had exposure to a lot of different kinds of companies there. And then when I got out of public accounting, I worked in real estate, I worked in manufacturing, and so, you know, and I was even the CFO of like a software company. So I really was, you know, all over the board. And I was like, well, so I can do, you know, a lot of different people. But I did know the industries and the companies I didn't want to work with. And so I started there to go, okay, what do I really not want to do? Well, I know I don't want to work with banks because they're a pain in the ass and they have all this, you know, regulation that they have to meet. That also means I don't want to work with investment firms. You know, I had worked with a couple of startup companies when I was in public accounting and some oil and gas. And so I knew I didn't want to work with those guys. So you might want to start there, like figure out who you absolutely do not want to work with. And then that may help you narrow down the field of who you do want to work with. And even then, if you ultimately decide that you want to work with e-commerce, you know, remember the great thing about accounting is that it's pretty much the same for everybody. So really, even though you may not have experience with e-commerce, I mean, a lot of their accounting is going to be the same as childcare, right? You have got assets and liabilities and income and expense and debits and credits and all of that's the same. There's just a few little things that might be specific to them. And so to kind of, for the messaging, you'll just have to do research on that, which is, you know, part of, I mean, I think it's like a whole module, or Ben, I know, did at least 2 of these calls on research, and they were really helpful, the tools that he provided. So I wouldn't worry too much about, you know, not having experience in it, because you have experience in accounting, and accounting is a lot of the same across industry and companies. But for finding a niche, I would recommend starting with who you don't want to work with, because that'll definitely help you narrow down the field.